There's some technical issues going on with the internet, and I try to work that all out. Hello, it's Clarissa here. We're in the Limelight. This is the beauty of live. We just know have to roll and go with the flow. Today on In the Limelight, we have a friend of the show that you have met before. She's been on. We've had other people from the organization on talking about something that is very near and dear to my heart, which is why I continue to have what I call these public service announcements, especially in the time of COVID and when victims are at home with abusers and have nowhere, or they may think have nowhere to go and that there's no way out. This is why I love to have Ashley Rumschlag back onto the show. She is VP of DomesticShelters.org, everybody. Hello and welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
It's really good to see you again. And I know you've been one busy lady. The shelters now, as I understand it, that are in the Domestic Shelters Network are now about 2,800 through the United States, about 300 in Canada. This is the place to be going when you or someone that you know needs help, assistance, resources, articles, or even someone just to talk to about what it is you can do to get out of an abusive relationship. There's a plan. I promise you there is. It may not be easy, but it is doable. Is it not, Ashley?
It is absolutely doable, and there are people out there that want to help. Even with everything that's going on in the world right now, shelters are still operating. We have yet to hear of anyone that is completely shut down, but for the most part, your local shelter and your local domestic violence program is up and running and is ready to take your call if you need help.
Fantastic. So there's a lot to get to, because I know that as I mentioned in the setup, there seems to be more of a need now than ever before, when for the last 2 months, pretty much. When I say abusers, we know that they are men and women, and the victims are men and women. We like to remind everyone that we're not speaking about one gender or another. We're just talking about domestic violence. Unfortunately, the cases are normally more of women being the victim. And we really do want you to get the message that there's help. So, okay, there's a lot to get to. Have you seen a rise? Has there been a rise in calls and outreach to the shelters in these last couple of months?
Yeah, from what we're hearing through the different national organizations and shelters themselves, we had actually hosted a webinar not too long ago where shelters were saying, yes, we're seeing an increase in calls. Because people are being, held at home with their abuser. They have no outlet, whereas sometimes they'd be able to go to work or, go do various activities. Essentially, they are, staying at home and continuing to be subjected to abuse. We do see, there is the flip side of things where people don't have opportunities to make the call. So in that case, it's almost a kind of a silence that they're not able to reach out for help. So there are both sides of the coin. For the most part, police calls for domestic violence, calls to shelters are increasing.
Right. And again, we're talking to anybody that is being abused, and to those of you that know of someone that is being abused, because you play and can play a major role in helping someone get out of a horrible situation. Gaslighting. Let's talk gaslighting.
Yeah.
When the abuser is saying to you, nobody cares about you. Where the heck do you think you're going to go? You have no life without me. I am your life. And sort of works on yours, because it's all working on your psyche. All of the abusive nature of the abuser works on the psyche. So gaslighting, talk about that.
Yeah, so gaslighting is, like you said, a form of psychological abuse, and it's a very effective one. And essentially, it's where an abuser is going to create doubt in the mind of their partner. So they're repeatedly going to tell them that the things that they say happened didn't happen. They're going to essentially make that person feel like they're going insane, crazy, as though they can't trust their own thoughts, their own feelings, their own memory. And it's just one more way that abusers exert power and control over their victims.
So what are some of the red flags? What is it that somebody should be looking for?
Yeah, so experts kind of pull out 5 very distinct red flags to look for. The first one is withholding, where essentially the abuser pretends that they don't understand what you're saying, or they just simply refuse to listen. Next is countering, where they basically tell you, oh, you're not remembering that correctly. It happens, something else happened. This isn't really what happened. They may also create a diversion where they just simply refuse to listen or let you bring up the topic in the first place.
Right.
They may trivialize it, would be another one where they basically say, oh, you're just being too sensitive, or why would you get so upset over something so dumb?
Right.
You might hear something like that. And also they forgetting. The abuser is just constantly forgetting about how things happened and kind of just making up their own story of what they think happened. So there's, very clear signs when you're on the outside, but when you're on the inside, it's very, very hard to see what's happening. And that's why it's so effective, is that slowly over time, they kind of create these little chipping away at your ability to kind of think for yourself and trust your gut and all of this. And then until it comes to the point where you just simply, you've lost your sense of self.
Yeah. Certainly another form of bullying, if not, another form of torture, quite frankly, because
right. Yeah. And the accounts that we kind of cite in some of our articles, people say it is, emotional and psychological abuse is in many cases worse than physical abuse. It's hard to say that because obviously,
I understand.
Some very gruesome things have happened, but in terms of the lasting effects of it, it's very, very hard to overcome when someone has for so long just completely stripped you down and made you
playing with your head. They're playing with your head. Exactly. And that takes real fortitude to not let anyone penetrate that part of you. Again, I love him so much. I just love him. I love him. And he loves me. And well, again, and I say every time you and I get together, or I speak to someone from DomesticShelters.org, if it hurts, it isn't love. And that doesn't always mean physical hurt. So if it hurts, it isn't love. And I cannot say that enough. So, okay. So what are some of the tactics that people can use to get away from or escape from gaslighting?
Right. Yeah. So the biggest thing you can do to kind of help yourself trust your own memory is writing things down. It doesn't have to be anything fancy or formal, just even if it's just a text to a friend to say, hey, this just happened, that you can look back at a later date. It could be a handwritten note if you have a safe way to do that. But really just writing things down, keeping a physical log of what is happening. So you can go back on those instances where you start to question what's going on, that you remember anything correctly, that you're starting to feel, crazy about what's going on. You can go back and start to see, okay, wait, no, this is how it happened. Something's off here. It's not me. It's my partner that's doing this to me.
You bring up a really, you brought up in what you said is a really good point, and I want to ask, and that is, even if you're texting a friend, what is it that friend can do to be her best self for you?
Yeah. And the biggest thing I always say,
what's going on, she's obviously going to be pained by watching you stay in this relationship. What is it that she can do to not overstep a boundary, not push you away? How can she help you?
The biggest thing that he or she can do is just simply not give up. Not, as hard as it may be that rock, be that person that, even if you have to say, I don't agree with what's happening and you deserve better than this, don't let the abuser win by letting that friend or family member or coworker become isolated, because that's exactly what they're trying to do. Even if it's just a quick check-in from time to time and you get no response, just let them know that they are not alone and that there are still people out there, because that helps them to remember that, whatever the abuser is telling them is not true, that people do care about me, and that I am worth, more than what my abuser says I'm worth.
Yeah, and let's be really clear that abuse is not always physical. Let's say that again. We've said it before, let's underline it. When you hear about domestic violence, that's probably also abuse. But
there's a lot of different terms for it.
Yeah, of course. Being abused doesn't necessarily mean physical. It can also, but this is what we're talking about. This is what Ashley's bringing to the table today, that gaslighting, that making you think, throwing it all back on you. There's something wrong with you're wrong. You don't get it right. You're stupid. You don't remember correctly. Really? Okay. So there's help for that as well. DomesticShelters.org, everybody. It's been on the ticker. It'll be from the minute I go until the minute we leave. That is going to be there because, again, the kind of resources and help that you can get over there are the kind of resources that you very well may need. Believe me, there's a way out. It can be done. It isn't always going to be easy. There are plans in place for someone just like you, whether it be you, again, or someone that you know. Please remember DomesticShelters.org. You guys came up with oh, by the way, I wanted to show you, yay. So in the Limelight magazine, right, we've got, it is a digital publication, everybody, but I do have 1 or 2 printed for posterity. And of course, Domestic Shelters is, where is it? Yeah. You see it? Other way. There it is. Yeah. Okay. Can you see? There you are. There is the ad in the magazine as well. It always will be. We will never not publish that advertisement for our solopreneurs and entrepreneurs that just may need that help.
You got it.
Giving Tuesdays now. Let's go back to, hey, Bobby. Let's go back to a second. Let's go. Okay. Tell me all about the new initiative now. This is, so we're having a little bit of lag. I'm sorry, love. I'm sorry. We're having a little bit of lag on the line. There we go. Giving Tuesdays now. There's a little bit of lag.
Yeah, so that was the global initiative that took place actually yesterday, but we're keeping our campaign going because the need is still there, and we really appreciate anyone's support. Essentially, where it's born from is every Tuesday after Thanksgiving is Giving Tuesday. And so, they kind of create this big global buzz, getting more people to donate to nonprofits. And we always participate every year. So we, as such, just, decided we would participate yesterday as well, where they kind of created an extra campaign in response to COVID-19 and everything that's going on right now. So yesterday we have, we have a Facebook campaign up. So if you'd like to contribute, please do go to our Facebook page and check out our campaign for Giving Tuesday now. And we'd love to have your support.
Absolutely. And there are other ways to support by going to the website. There's you can send to a specific shelter. So why don't you explain how else we might be able to help you?
Yeah. So the wish list program that you just brought up, which is a great way to support shelters, as things are closing down, people are less likely to venture out and pick up donations and drop off used items and just all the things that they need. So this is something you can do right from home. All you have to do is go to domesticshelters.org/wish-lists with an S, and you search by your location, find a list near you or anywhere in the country, and you just go in and you shop. You add in the laundry detergent or the socks and all of this, and then they ship directly to the shelter. So it's a very simple, easy way to give to shelters in a very effective way. It's the things that they need right now.
Love that. That's really great. Yeah. Okay. Well, now we're starting, hopefully, at this point. Yeah. We're starting to come out of COVID. We're able to, everybody's hopefully going back to work. And maybe this is really a really good time after these 2 months, maybe of being at home, of being enclosed, of being with the abuser. Maybe this was the time that the universe sent to you to say, okay, I'm done, no more. And this would be the perfect time to start reaching out. And Ashley, as we say every time, getting the plan in place.
Yes, it's very important. The best thing you can do for yourself, even if you're not ready to take action right now, is to have a plan and to start thinking through the different things that need to happen, in case, when you get to that moment where you say it's time to walk away, whether that be because of something, that puts your life in danger, or because, just it's time, you'll know when that time is. So we do encourage you to reach out to a local domestic violence program in your area, whether that's a shelter or it's just a standalone program. And you can find one of those by visiting DomesticShelters.org and searching by your location and, reaching out to someone in your area.
Okay. I think unless you have something else that we need to add, we're going to have you back on very soon. We'd love to have an update as to how everything is going. Again, everybody can still give to Giving Tuesday now.
Yeah, go to our Facebook and we'll have that campaign up for at least another week. So check that out and see what it's all about.
And then, easily enough through Amazon, let's just get over there and help. Why do we do that? I think everybody should do that right away. And Ashley, as I said, I love having you back on. Thank you for all the work that you're doing to support those that are victims of domestic violence.
Well, thank you.
Talk again real soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching this episode of In the Limelight TV, intelligent media for the savvy entrepreneur. Please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel and connecting with me on social. You can listen to this interview on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher. And you can also go to inthelimelightmedia.com to read our digital magazine.